Hey guys, so today I have some post-commentary duels with the Valiant Carboneddon deck. There are a few things I want to explain. I'm just going to talk over this duel because, I don't know, there's not too much to explain. It's just showing what the deck can do. Hopefully you guys can follow along with what's going on. But yeah, real quick, I usually upload things in the format or the schedule of showcase, deck profile, post-commentary, and the reason for that is I want to show you guys what the deck can do, explain my card choices and explain how the deck works a little bit, and then show you guys like play-by-play and like my thought process in this type of video. But the deck profile for this week is going to be is taking a little longer than I thought, so that's going to be a little later on. And as you can see, like one turn Quasar Armades, that's pretty nice. So yeah, deck profile will be out in the next few days. I don't know when exactly, but it'll be out soon enough, and I think it'll be worth it. If you guys are interested in looking, or if you guys are interested in this deck, I believe this is the next one, the Shaddolls. It's either this one or Shaddolls 2, or yeah, I guess we'll enjoy it either way. Okay, so first things first, I didn't really have anything that I wanted to set up except the Carboneddon. I could have set the Necrogardener and then like activated Jewels of Valiant. I don't know why. I mean, that was an option. It wasn't necessarily the best option. And right here he shows he's playing Shaddolls, so I'm just kind of worried about getting everything set up before Midrash comes out, because I know I've said it before, Midrash is annoying, but it's not like, okay, you're gonna lose if Midrash hits the field. It's not that bad. Okay, so here I have the opportunity to go for, like, let's say, what's this thing called? Moonlight. But I don't really want to just yet because I don't know what his, setup is. I know that he has a Falcon, obviously, but I don't know what this is. And I don't want to get blown out by, or not blown out, but I don't want to get stopped by like a breakthrough or something like that. And if I put Moonlight on the field, then that just gives him, an opportunity to send things from the graveyard, or send things from the deck to the graveyard. Obviously, he doesn't have a fusion yet, but I didn't know that at the time. So he flips Falcon for whatever reason. I guess he just wanted Catastor on the field. So I mean, teach their own, I guess. Drawing a Lone Fire. Okay, so right here, like I said in the deck profile, because I did record it, I just haven't finished editing it yet. I have a policy, or I guess a policy of you want to Black Rose early and often. Obviously he's playing Shaddolls, obviously he's going to get effects off and all that, but I'd much rather have an open field to work with. That's just my personal opinion, but yeah. So he gets the effects off because, that's kind of what they do. Oh, and he did the smart thing and flipped Hedgehog up so he can actually get the fusion. So now if I make a Synchro, I know for a fact that he's going to be able to do whatever he wants, so I just decided to sit on Labradorite and, wall up, I guess. Here, I talk about this in the deck profile. As a stopper, Electromagnetic Turtle is better than Necrogardener, but Necrogardener has more versatility in the fact that it can be used whenever. So right here, I'm predicting that he's going to use Shadoll Dragon to try and pop this. I don't exactly know how chains work, or how the chain would work in this situation, but I was like, I might as well try it. So I banish the Necrogardener in anticipation of him trying to dump the dragon. And as you can see right there, he actually does dump the dragon. The chain works the way I want it to, and I'm set up for next turn. And here's Midrash, and again, a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but you'd assume that a deck that relies so heavily on special summoning like this deck does, that Midrash is like an auto-lose situation. But it's not, just because you have ways to work around it. And by ways to work around it, I mean stall your ass off with things like Electromagnetic Turtle. Keep the things you want alive. So he's doing all this, and it's not really the biggest issue. I don't remember how, but I knew that he added the Shaddol fusion. I think that he just, I knew he added the L Shaddol fusion, so I guess he dumped the Shaddol Hedgehog and added it that way. I was looking in the graveyard when that happened. But yeah, I have the setup. I was able to, protect the Labradorite with Electromagnetic Turtle. I had the level leader in hand, so this forces his hand to either waste his Shaddol fusion or I get something out of here. I get the Midrash out of here and just kind of go off from there. I steal the Nephilim, I'm assuming, yep. And I don't know what happens now. I think I make Stardust? Yeah. So he's in a very weird situation, and he's not able to work himself out of this. He draws into Rainbow Kribo and then another Shaddolls fusion. Once he draws that, he leaves. But yeah, you can work out of a lot of situations with this deck. You just need to be a little lucky, to be completely honest, and you need to have like the right setup. When you do, you can work out of a lot of things that I know I've mentioned it before, you shouldn't really be able to work out of. Like a deck that focuses so heavily on special summoning shouldn't really be able to work their way out of a mid-rash, but you know, I guess it does, or I guess it's able to. Next up we have Harpies. This was actually one of the first duels I had with the deck, and it was in my original build. Like as you can see, I'm still running the 2 Malay at this point. I'm not running Quasar. I'm not sure if the Serene Psychic Witch makes an appearance at all in this duel, but yeah. This might actually be before I realized that Lone Fire and Earth equals a Shooting Star. But yeah. Or do I make Shooting Star now? All I remember is that I mess up when it comes. I messed up. No, maybe. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. But all I know is that I mess up when it comes to Tragodia. You'll see what I mean when that situation pops up. So it's a pretty solid field. And one thing that I guess I should mention right now, I always, like ever since I ran into Gores like a while back, like my very first time running into Gores, I've always like attacked with the lowest attack monster first, just, you know, to avoid things like Gores. Or not to avoid them, but just to get their token to be as weak as possible. But if you have something like Armades, and I think really only Armades does what he does, I always attack with that first because I'm going to get the most amount of damage in. Like let's say I attack with Leviair and he has the Gores, or in this case Trag. Armades is pretty much useless, so that's just something that I've kind of changed in my playstyle, I guess. Like usually I would have attacked with Leviair, but now that Armades is a card and I make him as much as I can, I just attack with Armades first to get that extra damage in, and then proceed to attack with the lowest attack to highest attack. And right there, like I'm not sure if you caught it, but that's where I messed up, and it's kind of why this wasn't in the showcase and why I had like weird feelings about this. I should have stolen the Trag, and then really none of this becomes an issue because yes, he can make the Harpy Channeler, yes, he can do the things with well, basically everything he's doing now. But first off, what he should have done was take my I know that he should. First off, he should have done this like all earlier. But with the setup he has now, he should have taken my level leader and then made Arcanite him, which I'm assuming he has. Yeah, he should have used Arcanite to take Armades, and then I'm basically here with just 2 fluff tokens, and I don't know why they're at 600 attack, but they are. So now, and really, again, like the fact that he left me with this opens himself up to a Black Rose play, and that kind of swings everything back in my favor because he didn't set, or I guess he had the Hysteric Sign already. And obviously he's, you know, set up, I suppose, to go into like Draco Sack, but it's not exactly the end of the world. I don't know what my setup is in the graveyard. Not the best. Okay, so that'll get me something next turn. So I guess that gets me a Labradorite, and I'm assuming I just steal this and then proceed to attack, and just kind of go from there. Like, I'm sorry, I haven't actually watched this duel in a long time, so I guess I'm setting up for later, which it's fine, I suppose. Now do I? Okay, so he targets Call the Haunted. Obviously, just bring something back to get something out of it. That sounds weird, but yeah. Okay, so I think now is when I go for Labradorite and all that. I just wanted the Barkion to kind of have like some form of protection, but obviously the Solemn Warning says no. But hey, at least I got Solemn Warning out of there. So I attack over Dancer and I attack over Token, just giving him as little of an opportunity to stay alive as possible. And this is where the duel ends because I guess he didn't read this, because I don't know why. There was no reason to dump that because I had game right here. But I don't think I actually mentioned it in the deck profile, but I don't know why, but Underground Arachnid is basically Honor's Arc and Armades, like if they had a weird baby. For the Armades effect, when this card attacks, your opponent can activate spells or traps. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that. So if he had activated this in response to the level leader attack, then he would have had like a bigger field. I don't know how much life he had, and I wasn't really paying attention. Does this bring him back in attack mode? No, just summon as many as possible. So he definitely could have stayed in that. Next up, Heroes. This was a duel I had against a buddy of mine. We were both testing decks out. Like, this was one of the first times. I don't think it was one of the first times I played this, but he just made this deck. It was like a quote-unquote pure hero deck, and he was trying out some interesting things. And right here, like, I didn't think this was good originally, but now it makes sense. Like, you could just pitch Shadow Mist to get the search off. It gets to attack or this thing gets to attack directly, and if it does damage, it gets to destroy back row. So it's basically a weird version of Rhoda and MST if it gets its attack off, and it does 800, so it's kind of like Cowboy. So I don't know, it's interesting, I suppose, but it allows Serene Psychic Witch to survive. And at this point, I do know, like 100% know about the Shooting Star combo. So I mean, here comes Shooting Star. In the deck profile, I know that I have like a slowed down version of this process, but basically, you abuse the hell out of tokens, you abuse the hell out of Spore and Lone Fire and all that cute stuff, and use that on Shooting Star. Which, again, isn't necessarily the best card in the world, but it is a 3300 body that can negate destruction. So it's pretty cool. So right here, he does make a good play. He is able to shrink me down a little bit with Koga, is that his name? I can't see. And then he's able to make another level 8 to make Felgrand to just stop the Shooting Star from doing anything. So right here, I'm in a little bit of a weird position, but I do have the turtle, so I know I can at least make something to stall for later down the road. He makes this thing, and that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass just yet, but it does later down the road. Do I not have a Carboneddon in the grave? Alright. Oops, sorry. I was wondering why I didn't. I thought I had one. So here I make Leo, and I attack into Core. He just put this in the deck, and we were talking about it. I remembered the bottom half of the effect was something like, when this is destroyed, you get to special summon something out of your graveyard, and I didn't want him getting back Koga, or does he have anything else? Yeah, I didn't want him getting back Koga or the Shining. So I just kind of, I attacked into Core just to kind of get that out of the way, but I forgot, I forgot / didn't know and didn't read the little honest effects it has, or little honest effect it has, so that definitely came back to bite me in the ass right there. But like I said earlier, I dumped Turtle for staying power, or to keep me in the duel, and I'm able to kind of go off a little bit and just try and steal something. And right here, this is the first time someone has actually done it right. Whenever I underground Arachnid people, they always tend to like stop Arachnid and stop its effect, but protecting your own monster is a lot better. So if you're ever in a position against a card like Arachnid, I don't know what card that would be, but something that would steal your monster, protect your own monster. Like, don't worry about negating their effects, because they're unaffected by things for the rest of the turn. You want to be unaffected by things for the rest of the turn. So that was like the first time someone actually did that the right way, and I don't know, just it made me happy that someone did that properly, I guess. Right here, looking at it, I actually had Quasar, but again, this was in the original build. If I had Recover would come out right here, make a Formula Synchron, then Level Eater would come back and Level Eat the Moonlight or the Arachnid, doesn't really matter, and then I'd have Quasar, which would have made this a lot easier, but yeah. So now he's in an awkward position. He attacks Arachnid, which I guess was fine, because it would have, like, I made Moonlight because obviously the only thing heroes can really do to get over this is to fusion summon. If that happens, I just get to bounce something, so that's why Moonlight was a clear choice for me. And yeah. Anyway, Mistworm comes out to say hi, and that's game over. That was a good duel. I don't know why I didn't put that in the showcase. I guess it's just because, I don't know, that probably should have been in there. it was an actual like a really good duel. Probably one of the better ones I've had with the deck. Next up, gadgets. This guy irritated me because of these things. He just didn't want Malay to hit the field, and it was very upsetting. Well, not very upsetting, but you know, it was just irritating. He was really scared of Malay, which in retrospect is kind of funny because it wasn't necessarily doing anything. But I don't know, it made me happy. So yeah, like I said, I make Malay the first time. He space-time traps hold it. Space-time trap holds it. I guess that's what you're supposed to say. Again, I want Malaya on the field because I have the Duels of the Valiant. So basically, all I would do is I would dump Dandelion to dump Spore. I would banish Dandelion for Spore, and then I'd be able to replace it with like a Turtle or a Neko Gardener or something like that. But he says no again, so I get my searches off, or I get my summons off. And here, I think I knew he had the Geargian armor. I think he searched it off of Geargian, and it was just it's a weird build. It's Machina, because he does play Machina right there actually. It's Machina, Gadget, Geargia. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But it's something, I suppose. Do I finally get my Malaya play off? I finally get my Malaya play off now. And I go for Armades just to kind of be in it, I guess. Just so I can kind of attack over things, but no. So at this point I do have the Turtle in the grave, so I'm protected from anything he tries to do. And he tries to get greedy. I'm going to assume, well, I'll wait until he actually does it. He tries to get greedy with this thing. And I'm going to assume that he has Abyss Duel. I haven't actually checked. No, but he could have made this thing, and that would have been game over. But he tries to get greedy and just tries to be cute with this thing, and that's ultimately what cost him this duel, because he had it set up. Like, there was no reason for him to... Yeah, like, honestly, if he made, what's this thing called? Rhapsody and Berserk, he could have just put the token into attack mode, banished my Turtle and whatever else he felt like doing. Actually, I would have been able to replace it. I don't know with what, but I could have replaced it with something. That's something. Anyway, make Arachnid steal this thing because I don't have anything in the extra deck that can get over 3,300 or whatever, except for, what's this thing called? Except for Quasar, and I wasn't making Quasar that turn. And right here, I remember this. I was like, okay, this is game, GG. I didn't say anything to him. I was saying it in my head. But for some reason, I thought he had 5,000 life points. And I don't know, I was real upset because I just left this level leader out here to die. And I don't think I actually have any way of protecting it. Well, I do have the Neko Gardener. And here, I predict the Excito Knight because I don't really know why, but I felt like it was a possibility. And I mean, there it is. So I guess I got lucky on that one. I just was able to set up, and from here it's just game. Because I have everything set the way I want it to, just in case of anything stupid. I recycle the Neko Gardener, but I'm able to attack for the win, and yeah. So that's pretty much it. I do have Galaxy written down just because I just want to show like the deck isn't as good, or isn't like flawless. Like it does, you open up very weirdly sometimes. I don't remember what happens here. I just remember that he opened like that. Like, I didn't actually watch this, I just remember saving it because it was a very bad opening, but he could have done so much more with that. Like, he's not playing any rank 5s. Because what he could have done was he could have sent Galaxy Eyes to the graveyard to add this thing, Galaxy Knight. Then he would have had a rank 8, and then he could have just summoned overlay booster for a rank 5, and I would have lost. I would have cried. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to show that this deck can definitely open up weird, and you can't really do anything in certain situations. You just have to wait it out and hope for the best, I guess. Wait for your stall cards, wait for your power cards, I guess. But yeah, that's been this video. This will play out in the background, I guess. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys like the deck. I will be putting out a deck profile in the next few days. Like, I have it recorded. It's just that I'm doing something with it, and I'm not big on self-promotion, but if you guys have been around for a while, you might remember that I did a vampire deck. It was my first deck profile on the channel, and I basically took little clips of the cards in action as I was describing them and played them for you guys. So while I was describing the deck, or while I was describing what the cards do, you could actually see them in action doing what I say they did. No, that's actually the end of the replay. So you can see them in action, and as I was like explaining combos and all that, you saw the combos, you know, happening in front of you. So it's just, I think it's a good tool, like a good learning tool. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I could be wasting my time on this, but I think it'll be cool. And yeah, the idea is whenever I work on a weird / original deck like this deck, or whenever I work on a new deck, like I might be picking up DDDs for a bit. All right, I know I'm going to pick them up for a bit, but I don't know if I'm going to put them on the channel. It depends on if I feel comfortable with them. But yeah, so whenever it's a weird or a new deck, expect that kind of deck profile, and it's going to be interesting. So if you're interested in the deck, stick through it. The deck profile looks like it's going to be like 20 minutes long. I apologize for that in advance. Just kind of stick through it if you think that's worth it. Like you'll see what I'm talking about within the first 5 minutes or so, or around that. And if you think that's worth it, if you want to stick around, please do. If you think that it's not worth it, you know, I'm not forcing you to stay. You can be on your way. All right, so that's been it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I might actually be doing another post commentary because I do have a lot that didn't get used in the showcase. So I might actually do another post commentary after the deck profile itself. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Later, guys.